Long ball number one here on Friday morning. The MLS game 3 of round 1, the decisive playoff matches have finally come this weekend with a full slate of games over Friday and Saturday night. Big question is, will Messi's Miami survive Atlanta's third leg?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, certainly Atlanta has proven that they are a tough out for Miami this season. They've made it difficult, especially in that second game. What a moment for Atlanta and the fans and Rob Valentino and Jean de Silva and all of that. There,
I like the way you say Jean de Silva.
I feel like I gotta lean in. It's one of the few Brazilian names that I feel comfortable adding that little sauce on top of. I can't do the proper pronunciation of Ronaldinho. Have you ever heard that? It's very difficult for an American tongue to do. And the R is never an R in Brazil. It's something. I mean, it's not R. It's somebody else's R. It's a Portuguese R.
R.
He did he had a great moment ripping the shirt off and taking that team to a third game against Miami and Fort Lauderdale. The stars will be out for sure. Maybe Will Smith will come by. What's LeBron James up to right now? Has he got some work somewhere? Okay, I don't know who's going to be there.
Just got sent to the minor leagues. So
I saw that.
There could be some controversy with Ronnie's world.
I don't know. Rihanna could she pop up with A$AP Rocky? Who knows what's going on there. I think Miami's going to win this game, but I can't tell you that I'm 100% about it, Robert. I can't tell you I'm like, yeah, they're definitely going to take this. I think Miami advances, but I think Atlanta's going to be tough. And, Tata Martino needs to do this to prove that they're not just a regular season wonder, that they can go win the championship. And maybe it's an unfair measure of greatness that we've set for Major League Soccer teams, right? Nobody else in the world does it like this. Well, Mexico does, but nobody talks about that. Most leagues in the world don't determine their champion through this means. And yet here we are with Lionel Messi and Inter Miami facing elimination.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall when the South American players, like especially the ones that are new to the league, the Messis, the Suarez's, the Busquets, like what do they feel like? We already won this league. We're still playing some more. But this game going to game 3 did kind of suit the purpose of like giving Atlanta a big moment, also big.
Absolutely. And needed, right? If you're just talking about the story of Atlanta United and where they are right now. And, we can talk about how some recent developments in Philadelphia might relate to Atlanta and what they're trying to do next, because it doesn't seem like no matter what happens here, unless Rob Valentino goes and lifts in MLS Cup, that he's going to be able to hold on to the job permanently. So Atlanta needed this. They needed a boost. It's been a rough couple of years for them. But it's interesting to wonder, and I'm sure some reporter will ask, or maybe it's been asked and we haven't seen it. What do you make of having to go and win this through a playoff instead of winning the league title over 34 matches, setting a points record and all of that? But of course, these players, Lionel Messi with Argentina, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba with Spain, Luis Suarez with Uruguay. I mean, he hasn't won a World Cup like those other guys have, but he's been in those tournaments. Right, he knows what it's like to have your season on the line or your tournament on the line, and have to make a choice about what to do. Maybe throw your hand up and block a shot from going into the goal in a knockout match against Ghana. Maybe that's a thing that you do. I don't
one
know.
Of my favorite all-time World Cup moments, to be honest.
It's incredible. If you have not watched back just that sequence, just the end of that match, because it happens at the very end of the game, Luis Suarez putting his hand up to keep Ghana from scoring. And then, who was it? Asamoah Gyan, Baby Jet himself, misses the penalty kick, and Uruguay goes on to win.
That's incredible. One of those things. I remember where I was in Colorado visiting my cousin on vacation. We had like a whole day planned, and I like made them wait till the end of the game. And like they were like in the car, like honking. And I'm like, just this game's got to end. And then the end of the game went for like another 10, 15 minutes. And I was like, I swear I'm coming to the car. We're going to go, but I got to see this. It was a where are you?
You made the right call. You made the right call for your history as a soccer fan. Absolutely.
Yeah, had to watch that. Hopefully, yeah, we'll see if a moment like that comes up. But tonight, there are other games other than Messi in Miami. We can't say Messi enough on these programs. But tonight, the first of these third games, Los Angeles Football Club, can they overcome the Caps?
Yeah, let me throw something in. I know you've already moved us on. I will mention that Sergio Busquets did not train this week. I saw that in the news, so I think there might be an issue with Busquets, which could be a problem for Tata Martino and Inter Miami. But
He was kind of fading as the season's worn on a little bit, right?
has maybe hit the wall a little bit. I'm not sure what the injury is, but I think he has hit the wall a little bit in terms of that physical ability to compete. It makes sense. As for LAFC, I would give Vancouver a better shot of beating LAFC in California than I would Atlanta beating Inter Miami in Fort Lauderdale. I think it's possible, and I think Vinny Sartini is a very good coach, and he's going to have a plan here. And this may go down to the end. I could see this being something like 1-1, and we go to a penalty kick shootout, Rob. And then, kind of all bets are off there. Hugo Lloris on one side, and who is the Japanese keeper for Vancouver? His name is escaping me.
Escaped me as well, but he made some fantastic saves in the first two games to keep this going.
Yeah, I do think this is going to be back and forth. Like I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be super cagey the way you might expect in an elimination game like this. I think there are going to be some chances. Denis Bouanga could win this game all by himself on one or two chances. But certainly we've watched Ryan Gauld raise his star level in this tournament, in these playoffs. Yeah, Takaoka is the goalkeeper for Vancouver.
Thank you, Jenny. So if you were gun to your head, what would you say in this game tonight with LAFC versus Vancouver?
I've already been burned by the chalk, right? So yeah. Columbus cooked, beaten by the Red Bulls. What the heck is happening there? Could we see two number ones go down? Wouldn't the Galaxy? Galaxy might imagine a city derby as a championship game. I mean, they would have to go across town to play LAFC in their building, but the Galaxy would love that because it would put them in line to maybe even be hosts. I got to check the numbers on points, but I do believe it was Inter Miami, Columbus, and then the two LA teams. So if all three of those top seeds go down, the Galaxy could be hosting an MLS Cup in Dignity Health Sports Park, Spa, and merry-go-round. I don't remember exactly which things it is, but it's many of those things. That could be a big moment for them.
Big Dignity place. Dignity Health Park. Was that
Dignity Health Sports Park? I think is right. I used to make a joke that it was a bank and a spa because those two things definitely go together.
Cincinnati versus New York City FC. Another matchup on Saturday. I think this kind of matchup, home field advantage probably makes the most difference than any other in this. In these series, or at least as far as the layout. NYCFC got it over the line at their second baseball stadium home, but this one in Cincinnati in front of that rabid fan base. Who would you? I mean, close, no doubt, but would you edge Cincinnati with the home field advantage here?
I would edge Cincinnati, but I don't know that this is not more than one goal, perhaps from the penalty spot, that decides it. I mean, I could easily see this being a Lucho Acosta penalty kick goal being the difference. 1-0, Cincinnati moves on. I mean, that's sort of the margins that Cincinnati always plays with, and we shall see. I mean, I think we did get this week Nick Cushing putting to rest any speculation that he might be leaving NYCFC to go coach the Arsenal women, who has been linked to. I think it was my friend Roberto Abramowitz, who does Spanish language radio in New York. I think it was him who posted on social media that he asked about those links, and Nick Cushing shot them down. So we that with that being no longer an issue hanging over NYCFC, could they spring an upset? Absolutely. I'm still putting money, if I was betting, on FC Cincinnati.
You brought up earlier the prospect of a penalty shootout to decide these. I mean, that's some immense pressure there, especially for the higher seeded teams. Like, it's already, almost a borderline flip of a coin in a penalty shootout, but for it to mean so much, I mean, you could, the narrative writers could chalk off, all of Miami's success just by that gets thrown out the window if they're a first round loser, right? So
Yeah,
there's a lot on the line. So if it gets pushed all the way to the penalty shootout, that's high stakes stuff.
Imagine this scenario. All right. You've got the biggest name on the planet in terms of soccer, one of the biggest names on the planet, period. One of the most famous people in the world, and a massive boon to Major League Soccer, selling Apple TV subscriptions and getting attention for the league. He has been huge. We talked about salaries this week, Robert, on the show. Lionel Messi, number one, rightfully so. $20 million a year he's making, which, by the way, is, he's underpaid. That's what I was going to say. He's underpaid at $20 million a year for what he's bringing to Major League Soccer. But imagine a scenario in which Atlanta United manages to push Inter Miami to the brink. 90 minutes are up. The game is tied. Maybe it's 1-1. Maybe it's 2-2. We go to a penalty kick shootout. No extra time. No chance for Messi to pull some magic out of his hat, maybe hit a free kick. We are into penalties. And it comes down to Brad Guzan on one side and Drake Callender on the other. And Drake Callender, on the shoulders of a young goalkeeper, Drake Callender, is the entire financial future of Major League Soccer. All of those people. I don't know where Don Garber is going to be this weekend. I don't know if he would want to kind of show up in Miami. Maybe that's a bad look to have the commissioner going to Fort Lauderdale for this game. But he'll be watching, as will everybody at Apple who's got skin in this game, and it'll be on Drake Callender whether or not they go through. That would be incredible drama.
I just thought of something that would ratchet it up if the winning penalty for Atlanta was chalked off due to Drake Callender's foot being like ahead of the goal line. and how gnarly things could get for Major League Soccer. Some sort of strange controversy comes up in
you
those
definitely do not want, as much as it might be good for the end game, if Lionel Messi goes through by whatever means necessary, you don't want it to come down to, did the referee give a card or a penalty or some decision made that seems like maybe it wasn't the right one just because it favored Inter Miami and Lionel Messi.
Yeah, Mike in the chat, there you go. Pro will not be making any calls against Miami. I mean, we'll see. That's like a whole game within a game there. This is a ref watch, Fort Lauderdale.
I think CSI Fort Lauderdale when it comes down to it.
And the game that probably of these matchups, the game that could probably go to penalties more than any other is the Orlando-Charlotte matchup.
Yeah, that one seems pretty tight. Both teams winning at home, although Charlotte had to do it via penalty kick shootout. I think Orlando's a better team. I think they've got more weapons. I want to see Duncan McGuire do something. I saw a tweet, a post, a Musk somewhere that said an excretion. I saw that something that Mauricio Pochettino is going to be attending that game this weekend. Why that game in particular? Maybe it is about Duncan McGuire, because I'm not sure there are a lot of good center forward options right now for the U.S. men's national team. Ricardo Pepi, Brandon Vasquez, not necessarily banging them in Mexico, and then who? So could it be? And maybe there's somebody else. I mean, think about there are American players in other spots in those two teams. It's just I'm not sure anybody's got, that one's on my bingo card for a national team call-up.
MLS playoff round 1 decisive games start tonight with LAFC and Vancouver. And then Saturday has the 3 games: Miami, Atlanta, Cincinnati, NYCFC, and Orlando versus Charlotte. Should be a fun weekend ahead. Shouldn't forget that it's the USL Championships playoff weekend too.